We the People, the death sentence for Ajmal Kasab and the ongoing controversy over why the death sentence for Afzal Guru has not been acted upon has brought a wider debate back into the public domain. Capital punishment. In India, in fact, it's been years since capital punishment has actually been implemented. But in an age of terrorism, in an age of fragility and increased vulnerability, can we really afford to get all politically correct about capital punishment? Let me start with Mahesh Jethmalani. Mahesh, the principle of capital punishment, what does it say to you?
The philosophy behind capital punishment really is one of retribution for crimes committed. There's also the deterrent aspect. And it's a sort of a safety valve for the anger of law-abiding citizens, as also for the victims of the crime. So there are three functions, essentially. A deterrent aspect, and then, of course, there's the expressive aspect. And that's very important, that society makes an emphatic denouncement of the crime that has been committed, the crime in question.
And you do believe that there are expressive and retribution function, because some say that that's a kind of eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth mentality. But for the times we live in, for example, it is supremely important for a lot of people to see Kasab's death sentence be taken to its logical conclusion. Others say that's a kind of vulture-like attitude.
Yeah, I mean, it's important not to get voyeuristic about death sentences, obviously. But there is another function, especially in terrorist cases. There is the question of the utilitarian aspect. And the Justice Tehlani in his judgment has emphasized this, that he constitutes a social menace to society in as much as he lays India open to a hostage exchange situation.
Mr. Raghavan, as somebody who's actually been the head of the CBI, but you've also very interestingly argued repeatedly against capital punishment. But when you see Afzal Guru and Ajmal Kasab, when you see the times we live in, do you still believe that capital punishment should not be upheld as a principle?
I abhor death sentence, absolutely.
Even for a Kasab?
No, that's why I want to qualify it. Yeah. I want to qualify it. Two instances. One, being a citizen of India, you can't ignore a national sentiment which pleads for immediate execution of these two individuals. The US will say, yes, repeated studies have indicated that capital punishment has not had any deterrence on prospective crimes. And from the two instances which you yourself cited, can't we make a distinction between what a terrorist indulgence in murder and the private individuals?
So you're drawing a distinction between terrorism and other crimes?
Absolutely. That takes care of the present situation. Because I understand we are living in very dangerous times. Any one of us can be a victim of terrorism any time. So we can easily make a distinction between a terrorist murder and a non-terrorist.
So you abhor capital punishment, but you are reluctantly willing to apply it to terrorists and acts of terrorism.
This is what I've been writing about. And in the case of these two instances, I don't think there is any reason why we can show any mercy.
Okay, on that note, let me get Jayanti Natarajan now up in the screen. Jayanti Natarajan, on the specific case of Afzal Guru, as it coincides with the larger case of Ajmal Kasab, there is a great deal of cynicism about the fact that the Congress has played a kind of game of politics with the Afzal Guru case, has kept the file on hold for essentially political reasons. What sort of message does that send out on this wider debate?
I think that's a very unfair allegation to make against the Congress. On the other hand, I would say, Barka, that the politicization is being done by the opposition whenever it suits them. A crime, particularly one such as the parliament attack, people in the country across the board want to see the perpetrators brought to justice. And that is, there are also people on death row, the killers of Rajiv Gandhi, for instance, and there is a certain list, an order which is now no longer apparently being followed. Any sentence can be carried out at any time.
But you haven't explained why it would take 4 years for the Delhi government to respond.
I don't think that anywhere it has been said that it must be done within a particular time frame. There are considerations. There is a due process of law. Why a particular government has taken a particular stand at a point of time is something for that government to speak about.
But that government is your government. It's your party's government. It's not an abstract.
I know, it's a government.
Just a point. In 1982, the Supreme Court, in the three-judge bench judgment, has laid down that the court should impose a self-imposed discipline of 3 months in disposing of a mercy petition. It's established law.
Still, there are many cases which are pending beyond that period of time.
Tuba.com